we've actually learned a lot from the process now that we're going to carry forward into the future. I think our scouts have done a fabulous job working the Zoom and Skype and Teams and everything. And
we've had tons of drafts over our lifetime that will never be remembered like this one will be.
Stacy!
G. Scott!
It's a virtual party.
I know. I'm excited. I already have pizza.
We're here too.
Oh, I'm glad you got
right.
pizza. But
Sorry.
right now, we already have guests right now. Rain Wilson and Joel McHale, both from the Seattle area. Rain, you know him as Dwight on The Office, and Joel McHale, we know him as a huge Seahawks fan, and also someone is here to play for the University of Washington.
From our family
was a tight end for the University of Washington. All right. Graduate of University of Washington as well, and actually had an opportunity to call a game, preseason game, with Steve Rabel last football season. Welcome, guys. How you guys doing?
Greatest intro I've ever had.
Wow, it was good. It was good. It really highlighted your Seattle sports history, which is impressive.
Rain played Dwight on The Office, and Joel is a Seahawks fan.
Come on, Joel. Hey,
Joel, you were great on According to Jim.
How are you guys keeping busy during this quarantine?
You're looking at it.
Yeah, we're going on digital Seahawks shows. We're so bored out of our minds. We're like, oh, they want us on a digital Seahawks draft party? Yeah, we're there.
No problem. Will Scott be there and Rost? Absolutely.
Joel, right now, what do you miss so far? Since you've been quarantined, what do you miss the most?
Oh, boy. Well, I miss Rain in person. He comes over almost every day and gives me it's like a foot massage. It's a foot.
We do a big, really intense foot massage.
That's how talented Rain is.
A lot of breath. Yeah.
I don't miss. I miss salt. I miss having salt.
You don't have salt at home?
You can still have salt.
You can absolutely have salt. Yeah.
I'll be right back. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
you can have salt.
All right.
Absolutely.
I miss you, G. I miss Stacy. I miss Seattle. I miss actually not having the ability. We were supposed to go to Seattle and we weren't able to. And actually that really made my kids mad. How about you, Rain? What do you miss?
I miss whatever that screen is that's right behind you. What are you hiding behind that?
This is from season 3 of the first Star Trek series. And I don't know if you remember the one with the green lady, but she was
revealed behind that thing.
Yeah, and we got it at an auction, so it's very exciting. It weighs about 800 pounds. So
how about the two of you guys recently were on Twitter going back and forth talking about your Seahawks swag and hats. By the way, Rain, I love your Seahawks hat that you're wearing. What was up with that? What was up with that little exchange?
Oh. Gee, you know how to move this thing along. I will give you that. You are impressive.
He's on it. He's so
he can see when it lulls, and he just goes. So recently,
listen, Joel and I are old friends. Not only are we Seattleites, not only are we former Huskies and Seahawks fans, and we were on the same lineup of Thursday night television on NBC. So we have a long, rich, somewhat checkered past. So
Rain, do you remember when I first met you?
No, I don't. Was I a dick? Was I kind of a dick to you?
You weren't.
Oh, I was sweet.
You were very thoughtful. And
I've got a Jekyll and Hyde thing.
It's weird how you came right out and said that. Were you a jerk? Are you a jerk to people when you first meet them?
Sometimes when people say that, they'll be like, Rain, you know, when I first met you 10 years ago, and I'm like, inside, I'm like, oh, shoot, was I a dick?
No.
Because I was a little bit of a
super
dick
nice meeting us. Yeah, I've never met you before, although I am wondering the whole time whether you have a hamster cage behind you. Like, that's really the question that I've been waiting to ask.
That's a hand. He keeps a hand.
It's a hamster cage, but it's not a hamster. It's not a hamster in the cage.
It's just an empty cage. Oh,
Joel,
yikes.
Joel, tell
Wait,
us about
hold on.
Tiger King.
G, I got to say where I met you at the Borat premiere there, Rain.
Really?
So this is why we met there, is because I snuck in with my friend Scott. We were invited, but we didn't have seats. And we snuck into the celebrity section and sat down next to you. And I immediately started up a conversation about Seattle. And we were having an intense conversation. And the people kept coming by looking at their list of people who should be sitting there. And my friend kept going, keep talking to Rain, keep talking to Rain. And
you used me for my minor
I
celebrity
absolutely
status.
used you. It was my friend Scott Derrickson and I, and they eventually just let us sit there because they thought they must be friends with Rain.
What a great movie, though. I remember Will Ferrell was sitting right in front.
I remember his head tilting back with laughter. And
G,
and then
I'm sorry, we keep interrupting you, man.
We'll talk about the Seahawks.
Here's what I want to talk about, G. I want to talk about. Let's talk about the draft. Let's talk about, is there going to be a football season this year? Because, my heart goes out to people. There's people facing unemployment. There's people that are sick. The stakes are very high. For me, however, I feel a great sense of sorrow and heartbreak at the possibility that there might not be an NFL season this year. I'm not sure how to process this. G, take that.
Rain, yes, we are hoping to play football this season. I believe all 12 Seahawks fans, all NFL football fans are hoping to play football this season. That's something that we need, especially right now. Having this pre-draft party is important for the fans. Having the NFL draft after this is important for the fans. And let's be honest, it gives us something to look forward to. But I've answered that. But I got to ask this about Tiger King. I want to talk about Tiger King real quick. See, Joel, because I feel like between you and I, you think I ain't got no love for you, but I got love for you.
No, I'm just so impressed by your skills to keep things going in the right direction for the show, because we went off into talking about Borat.
I know
Stacy's hardly said anything.
No,
the hamster thing was a relevant question.
Man. We got 3 minutes.
All right, so Tiger King, go ahead.
No, I'm not going to Tiger King. I'm going to Seahawks now.
Oh, all right.
I will go right to the Seahawks right now. What are you hoping that the Seahawks do in this NFL draft, Joel?
I'm hoping they pick up some players and then win the Super Bowl.
Fair.
That's how I want the players. I want them to pick up good players that can help them win the Super Bowl.
How many players do you want them to pick at 27?
They got to trade down at 27. They got to trade. They are going to trade down at 27. Mark my words. They're going to get a second and a fourth round pick for 27. And they're gonna kill it. Schneider's gonna kill it.
Rain, what does Dwight think about everything going on right now with this quarantine?
Dwight Eisenhower, go ahead.
Let me call the writers in the office. I'm gonna assemble a mini writers room. They're going to put their heads together and write some Dwight monologues about the quarantine. I think he likes the quarantine because it's good practice for the eventual zombie apocalypse. So it's a good warm up for humanity, right?
Yeah. Hey, Rain, not many people actually trading down is never that interesting. Like most people just kind of feel disappointed because you always want something on the first day, but you sound like you are very pro trading down. Like you're going to be jumping out of your seat.
Trade down,
chanting.
Trade down. Yes. Instead of an above average lineman or offensive tackle, trade down and get a different above average offensive tackle and an above average offensive lineman.
I'm not going to lie. I really like this take. I've been trying to say there's nothing wrong with trading down. I mean, I'd like something to happen today, but man, it's kind of fun to watch GMs finagle everything.
But don't you think
Joel, last take and we wrap after this, Joel.
We already have a very good team. And I feel like we just need just a couple little things. And Pete Carroll's so good at finding diamonds in the rough that I don't doubt he's not going to find them right here by trading down, like Rain just said, ladies and gentlemen.
Joel leaves. Rain Wilson from the office. Really appreciate you guys. Loves you guys. Hey, this pre-draft party is just getting started. Remember to submit your fan questions on YouTube, Facebook, and at Seahawks on Twitter. Also, show us your Seahawks themed room right now using the hashtag Seahawks Draft. Coming up next, we hear from one of the best linebackers to ever put on a Seahawks uniform. Lofa Tatupu joins us after this timeout.
From our family to yours, we want to encourage you to keep going. Keep protecting what's most important. Keep hopeful in the face of all this. Keep believing. Keep being strong. Keep supporting the people on the front line. Keep staying together while staying apart. Keep being fearless. And most of all, keep dreaming. American Family Insurance is mailing our personal auto insurance customers a premium relief payment to help them keep going. We'll keep being here when you need us.
Traditions are important, now more than ever. And while I considered skipping this one, Bud Light reminded me it just wouldn't be the same.
Yeah, there you go.
The Seahawks pre-draft virtual party. I am G. Scott. That is Stacy Rost. Stacy, we got the draft going.
I know. Almost.
The pre-draft is going. Of course, the Seahawks are at number 27.
We're in our second segment. You guys are up next, okay?
As we get started, what's your thoughts right now? What are you thinking going into this draft? What would you, Stacy Rost, like to see the Seahawks do?
You know, I'm a really boring person and a conservative kind of, I would be, I think, a conservative GM. I'm with Rain. I'm probably like a trade back kind of person. But if they do stick at 27, I think the number one need is pass rush. The question is there a talent that they would have graded as a first round talent that actually falls to them at 27? Because you don't always have first round grades on every one of the first round picks, right? And so I think that's the problem you run into when you're in the later rounds. So if there's like an Etor Gross-Matos that falls to them, I don't know if that'll happen, but I think he'd be a really good fit. He's been mocked to Seattle a couple times. Ezra Cleveland, who's a lineman, could be one. But I think when you look back at, for instance, 2019's draft class, I think the best pick, and I'm not alone in thinking this, was DK Metcalf, who they got in the second round. So you kind of wonder if this year there's going to be a couple more of those surprises of people that for some reason just slip and the Seahawks are able to get a steal.
You know what's interesting is I had a couple of my friends text me up and says, "Oh, what's the Seahawks going to do in the first round? Are they going to go ahead and trade down again? Ha, ha, ha." I said, I don't know, but I do know what the Seahawks usually do every single season. They go to the playoffs. It's interesting that everybody always likes to make fun of the Seahawks and what they do. Look, I'm not going to go ahead and get into the cliche of trust John Schneider and trust Pete Carroll, but actually you should. You should trust John Schneider and Pete Carroll because that's what they do. They go to the playoffs every single year, usually. It's crazy how people talk about them trading down. As for what they do this season, especially coming up here in the first round at number 27 pick, I'm good with whatever they do. No matter whatever they decide to do, trade up, trade down, I'm good with whatever they do. Stacy?
What did you think when you look back on the 2019 class? Like, obviously, Metcalf had a phenomenal year, 900 yards, 7 touchdowns. LJ Collier is someone who I can't stress this enough. I know he maybe didn't have the season people were expecting, but John Schneider said they thought they lost him to that ankle injury he suffered in training camp. So I'm actually really eager to see what his kind of sophomore season looks like. He's someone that I'm particularly interested in for 2020.
I think DK, I mean, this is the obvious one, right? When you look at DK and people talk about DK Metcalf, and I remember the first time that we were all out there and we watched him when he was in rookie camp and everybody just had their mouth to the ground. I mean, the dude is a physical specimen, but not just that, he catches everything. And it was an amazing target for, he was an amazing target for Russell Wilson this season. And so that in itself is amazing. So I'm all on the DK Metcalf bandwagon. I'm looking forward to him. And I'm looking forward to even LJ Collier, even though he's not with the Seahawks and everything. I'm looking forward to him having a continued career. All right. Coming up next, we get an opportunity to hang out with one of the best linebackers to ever do it. Join us next for Lofa Tatupu.
Every digital business operates on a precise formula. Staying connected to customers, suppliers, and partners. Instantly responding to changing business demands. And managing and protecting vast amounts of data. To innovate at speeds never before imagined. Driving it all as one constant. CenturyLink connectivity, cloud, and security solutions. Digital plus business equals more innovation faster.
Dear team members, for 30 years I've been a pizza guy, delivering door to door and family to family. But now the world has changed, and we do more than bring pizza to the door. We help make people feel connected. We bring a sense of normalcy. Yes, we are the pizza guys, and we're proud to serve.
It is the Seahawks virtual pre-draft party. I'm G. Scott. That is Stacy Rost. We got a guest, Stacy, and I'm excited about this guest. I've known him since he was a rookie, 3-time Pro Bowler, All-Pro, NFC champion, and one of the best linebackers to ever do it. Number 51, Lofa Tatupu. Lofa, what's up, man?
What's happening, everybody?
Good to have you. I want to get right to it, man. It's draft day. Tell us what draft day was like for you, man.
Well, I literally paint the picture behind me. It's a beach, right? So Oceanside, California, that's where we had the draft party at one of my dad's roommates from SC. His roommate gave us the house, and we just, about 40 or 50 of us gathered over there and, watched my dreams come true.
What was it like? Do you remember when you finally got that call? Tell us about that.
Well, yeah, what's interesting is we didn't have cell service over there. So
yikes.
Yikes. My first conversation with Russell and Holmgren was not that pleasant. They asked me if I even wanted to play football. But so I didn't get the call. I didn't get it like everybody else that you notified and, you have that moment to just give your family the hugs. We literally were just sitting there, eyes glued to the TV, and up pops my name. 45th selection, Lofa Tatupu, linebacker out of USC. So the place erupted.
Yeah.
And then we had to find a phone with service and make the call to my agent. And but it worked out. And I got to spend the next 6 years of my life up here in the Pacific Northwest.
There you go. Could have gone with carrier pigeon. Always an option. Hey, when people talk about the draft experience, what's something that always surprises just kind of casual fans who haven't ever been part of that experience as a player, when you talk to them about what it's like as a player in that draft experience? Is there anything that isn't obvious to us?
It's I try to stay in the moment. I didn't get too carried away with like where I was going to go or what round, because I think a lot of guys can get caught up in that. So that's probably the biggest thing that the fans, they get a glimpse of it when they show it on TV and or someone's in the green room for too long. And so luckily I didn't have to go through that. I wasn't going to be a first rounder. So I chose to stay home and just be with family at that time.
Go ahead, G. Oh, so you spent also some time as assistant linebackers coach with Seattle. What's the kind of process in the draft look like for coaches? How involved are they in that kind of thing?
Oh, it's incredible. John and the scouts, they do a phenomenal job, of let us give our input. But ultimately, they've drafted so well for so many years that, they take that in, but they have a system and, it's working. You look at, they find value in every single draft. You go back and there's a player or two that just becomes a star.
Hey, Lofa, I know you're excited, like we all excited about this draft. What are you looking forward to the Seahawks doing with their 27th pick in this draft?
Well, if history repeats itself, we will probably be trading out of the first round. And I'm sorry to say that, fans, but and that's the beauty of it. John, he knows value, and so if the guy that we go into this going for best available, we don't have glaring needs. A pass rusher, sure, maybe some O-line depth for the future. And maybe a running back somewhere in there because our two guys are coming back from injury. But that's the beauty of what they've done the last decade or so is they haven't had to draft for need. It's been purely best player available. groom that player to become, a future All-Pro in, Bobby Wagner, KJ Wright, and Russell Wilson.
Is there any player you've kind of fallen in love with in this draft that you kind of hope falls to Seattle, if not in the first round, maybe a bit later?
No, there's plenty of great players. We've been linked to a couple, the DM position, the kid Matos out of Penn State, and then also Epinesa out of Iowa. And so, they'd be great additions. I'm holding out hope that we still land Clowney. He's a phenomenal player. And hopefully we get some, worked out there. But love all the moves that we've done in the offseason because we've really got depth on both O and D line. And, when we had that Super Bowl run in 13, both lines were very deep. 2 Pro Bowl players in Michael Bennett and Cliff Averill. We're backing up Red Bryant and Chris Clemens for that year, just, for that year. But so that's the kind of depth that we had up front.
Lofa, appreciate you, man. Thanks for hanging out with our virtual pre-draft party, brother.
Appreciate you having me. Go Hawks.
All right. Lofa Tatupu. Hey, coming up next, we want to hear from you. Keep submitting those questions on YouTube, on Facebook, by tweeting at Twitter, at Seahawks on Twitter. And of course, Jackie Montgomery and Jen Mueller will have all the answers after this quick timeout.
Every digital business operates on a precise formula. Staying connected to customers, suppliers, and partners. Instantly responding to changing business demands. And managing and protecting vast amounts of data. To innovate at speeds never before imagined. Driving it all as one constant. CenturyLink connectivity, cloud, and security solutions. Digital plus business equals more innovation faster.
From our family to yours, we want to encourage you to keep going. Keep protecting what's most important. Keep hopeful in the face of all this. Keep believing. Keep being strong. Keep supporting the people on the front line. Keep staying together while staying apart. Keep being fearless. And most of all, keep dreaming. American Family Insurance is mailing our personal auto insurance customers a premium relief payment to help them keep going. We'll keep being here when you need us.
Welcome back to the Seahawks Draft Party. We're so glad that you're joining us virtually this year. And we do hope that you are joining this segment because it is all about you. Hello, everyone. I'm Jen Mueller, sideline reporter for the Seahawks, joined by a couple of former players. We have Big Play Babs from the secondary. Hey there, Babs.
Hey, Jen. How's it going?
Pretty good. We're finally talking football. There's some real stuff happening. I'm super excited about that. I'm also excited to have Ray Roberts, the big guy. He's going to take a lot of our offensive questions, but also trench-type questions. He'll be fielding those. Jackie Montgomery from Seahawks.com will be asking a lot of those questions. Jackie, are we ready?
We are ready. Guys, are you ready?
I'm ready to go.
All right. All right. Well, first up is from Aiden Posey. She wants to know which you think is more important for the Hawks to target early in the draft. D-line or O-line? So, Ray, I'm going to point to you, former offensive tackle. What do you think?
Yeah, I would say the offensive line, especially the offensive tackle group in this year's draft is pretty deep. So I think you can probably get a good offensive lineman in the second or third round. But the pass rushers are not as deep, I don't think. So I think if you have a chance to ensure the pass rush, get someone coming off the edge with some speed, I think that you have to then focus on the elite pass rushers earlier in the draft.
Well, and the fact that the Seahawks already have 18 offensive linemen on
that
the
helps
roster.
Too. yeah, like a third of the team is already offensive line, which I'm not complaining about. Like the more we get, I'm happy about all that, you know.
Sure, but Babs, when you take a look at that, getting somebody on the defensive line that can be disruptive alongside Benson Mayowa, who's back, and alongside Bruce Irvin, that has ripple effects and trickle-down effects. I think it was actually the phrase I was going for, to the secondary.
Yeah, for sure. I think when you look at both bringing back Benson and Bruce Irvin, certainly this Seahawks attack and style of Pete Carroll and John Snyder has always focused on getting after the pass rusher. And certainly with a lot of uncertainty around Jadeveon Clowney, I'm sure they want to shore that position up.
All right,
and
time
with
for
the
the
team
next.
finishing 31st in sacks last year, I think that they would like to see some more production out of that.
Most definitely
that
getting
space.
back
Yes.
to that. Yeah, absolutely. Our next question is up. Just a reminder, you can submit questions online via YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. And here you go. I think this is a fairly easy question, but I'm not going to be the first one to answer it. Will our Hawks be making a pick today? Ray, I heard you first. Give me the answer.
You know what? Like, I have a feeling, I know there's this myth about us always trading back and getting more draft picks and things, but I have a feeling it's going to be a really good player, maybe the receiver from Clemson or the pass rusher from LSU, maybe around at 27, and it may be hard to pass up on.
All right. Babs, what do you think?
And I'm not too sure about that. If you take a look at the last 8 drafts under John Snyder, they've always traded back or traded out of the first round. The last time they made a first-round draft pick was offensive tackle, pick James Carpenter back in 2011. So if Ray, I'm not disagreeing with you, but it's more likely that they'll trade out.
You are disagreeing.
But if there's a dominant pass rusher that's available, you could see the Seahawks take that selection.
I say you got to go for it. If there's, I think you got to go for it. If there is a strong pass rusher at that position, at that point, number 27, you got to take him. But as Babs pointed out, as history has told us in the past, there's a good chance we're going to trade down.
I think one of the key things too is with that pick, if you're going to use it, it has to be someone that's either you're going to pencil in as a starter or they're going to be a major contributor. So if they don't have someone that fits one of those two things, then that's why I think they didn't trade down, because then they have more developmental type players to bring up.
All right. I was the only one who was saying, no, we're not making a pick today. Jackie, I'll let you ask the next question because I was clearly wrong, according to all of you.
All right. So this is from Dennis. He's asking, do you believe Pete is giving actual clues? Or is it just random stuff that he's putting in?
You take that one, Babs.
Yeah. Well, Pete kind of plays these chess games, with throwing those out.
Always compete.
It's always competes, right? So it's almost like a scavenger hunt. I guess in his mind, he feels like he's giving out clues, but no one really has the insight into what they're thinking inside that war room or inside their war home, I guess.
Well, I know when he first started, I'm a dude that loves to do like brain teasers and like try to figure out little clues and all that kind of stuff. And I drove myself crazy trying to figure out what he was trying to say with the clues he had. So I don't know if he's like doing clues or like next level clues, but I just know down here in the main dude clues, I just saying like I couldn't figure out anything.
Yeah, I'm not in on those clues at all, but I am in on hearing more from G and Stacy. That is where we go now.
Welcome back into the Seahawks pre-draft virtual party. I'm G. Scott, Stacy, Rost. Coming up next, we got KJ Wright is going to join us. But Stacy, before we go, Did you get some pizza?
I did.
Did you get some of that Pizza Hut?
I sure did. I was eating it right before the break, and I almost leaned into the camera to am I good? No, never mind. People are watching. Gonna wait on that.
Oh, love it. Yeah, I kind of smashed my Pizza Hut early. Man, I loved every bit of it. Real quick before we get to the break, I want to talk about a little bit more about the 2019 draft.
Okay.
And one of the picks that I want to talk about, Marquise Blair. Marquise Blair was a player. And if there's one thing I've noticed about Pete and John in the Seahawks organization when they draft guys, you know what's important? And I'll talk about this later on. Special teams. Guys that can really get down, not just on the offense or defensive side of the ball, but special teams. Marquise Blair, look for that guy. Look for that kid to have a great career. They drafted really well getting him. Who's another one from last year?
They did. And you know what's so funny is I didn't know what your reasoning would be. I thought you'd be like, oh, Marquise Blair, he's such a hard hitter. He's got that kind of like energy and speed and everything you want to see on a defense. It's completely what I was expecting. So it's funny that you mentioned special teams because I was going to mention Ugo Amadi as someone who I think had a really great rookie season with Seattle, but for a particular reason, he was a standout on special teams. And he told us on 710 ESPN, we had an interview with him a while ago, and he said that his 2020 goal, we were like, what do you want to do? And he was like, I want to be a Pro Bowler on special teams. Like, we'll accept nothing less. That's what he wants to do. And I thought it was a really encouraging kind of goal to have. It's stressing that other phase of the ball that gets overlooked sometimes, and that's what makes great football teams too, is paying attention to all of the details. So I thought that was an awesome answer.
You ready to talk to a veteran next?
Yes,
We're going to talk to a 10-year Seahawk veteran. Coming up next, KJ Wright is going to hang out with us. Remember to submit your fan questions on YouTube, Facebook, and at Seahawks on Twitter. Also, show us your Seahawks theme room by using hashtags Seahawks Draft. Again.
Traditions are important, now more than ever. And while I considered skipping this one, Bud Light reminded me it just wouldn't be the same.
Yeah, there you go.
Dear team members, for 30 years I've been a pizza guy, delivering door to door and family to family. But now the world has changed, and we do more than bring pizza to the door. We help make people feel connected. We bring a sense of normalcy. Yes, we are the pizza guys, and we're proud to serve.
Our next guest, Stacy Joe, 10-year Seahawk. He's a Seahawk. He's a Pro Bowler. He's a Super Bowl champion, 2018 Man of the Year, father of 3, husband of 1, linebacker, KJ Wright. What's up, man?
That's a good intro, G. I like that.
Yeah.
Hey, how you holding up? How you holding up during this quarantine, brother?
We doing good, man. It's I got the fam here. We finally figured out a nice, smooth routine. Wake up, get a little exercise in, do a little homework. When the weather's good, we'll take a walk and all that good stuff. So we hanging in there.
What kind of, so are you, how about recess? I'm sure you like recess with the kids. You got 3 kids. What are you doing for recess with the kids, KJ?
Well, Ariana's a volleyballer, so we got there, make sure the volleyball skills stay on point. Cam, just let him run around. He'll run around and chase after the ball when it go, far away and all that stuff. So we're just having fun.
What's your subject that you're teaching for homeschooling? Like outside of PE, where are you like, I got this?
Well, we got 3-year-old, so he's going over his letters and his numbers. That's pretty easy. You take it up to middle school, that's when stuff gets real. And, they going over obviously the math, the sciences, and the fractions and all that stuff. So my wife handling it today right now, so I got a break from the homework.
There you go. Okay, hey, I want to talk about just while you're here, a few of the Seahawks offseason additions so far. What do you make of the moves in free agency?
It's amazing. I think the obvious one is Bruce Irvin coming back. That's big for us. Get a familiar face in the building, someone that's been balling for a long time. So I love Bruce. That's a brother. Benson, another former Seahawk. He went to Oakland, made some plays out there, so we got him back. And so they did a good job in just bringing in guys that we're familiar with, that can just, the chemistry can just be right on point as soon as they step in the building. So I'm really happy with that.
KJ, man, you look good. I know all the gyms are closed. You can't go to the Seahawks facility. You can't do that. Come on, man. What you doing? You doing something in the garage, man? What you doing?
You know what, G? I got a new diet going. So I got a chef.
Oh.
Yeah, five
talk
days
about
a
that.
week. I got some lunch and dinner. So I got a nice chef. And I'm working on my deck. So 2 days a week, I'm doing my yoga. And 3 days, I'm doing like my real workouts. And so, Alex Higa, she put me through a nice little virtual workout. And so I got it all set up on the deck, doing my thing.
Okay. All right. I like
the chef get me right, though.
So, okay, well, wait a minute. Let's talk about the chef in this diet. What's in the diet? Are you vegetarian? Are you pescatarian? Are you eating chicken? Are you eating steaks? What you eating, man?
Chicken, steak, and it's good food. It's what fits my body. No anti-inflammatory food, no fried food, all the good stuff. But I still gotta have my chicken and steak. I'll never go vegan or vegetarian.
I was gonna say, I don't know how you'd go without any kind of dessert at all, any kind of sweets or sugar.
Oh, well,
I don't know. That would get me.
The weekend is my cheat day, so
Okay.
I'm in my
There you
own
go.
discretion on the weekend, so I treat myself on the weekend.
Get something in here. Hey, quick question. We're obviously, G and I talking all about the draft during the virtual party, first draft night. Can you take us back to your draft night experience?
Yeah, so it was, I was a third day guy, so it was in the daytime. It wasn't at night, like the first and second and third rounders. So, yeah, I was upset in the beginning because I felt I should have been second, third round pick, but my name just wasn't getting called. But funny story. I was at my mom's house watching the draft, and when the last third round pick got called, and I was just livid. I took off, put my shoes on, just took off running. My high school was like a mile away, so I just took off running to my high school and came back home. And I told my mom, I was like, I ain't going to graduation tomorrow. I'm not going to graduation tomorrow. I'm mad at the world. Yeah. And she was like, you going to graduation. And so I couldn't get out of that. And so finally got the call at pick number 99, and Seahawks called me, and the rest is history.
So what'd you do that night? The Seahawks call you, pick number 99. What did you do that night?
That night?
Oh, that day. Yeah, well, you got picked in the day, but that night, that evening, what'd you do to celebrate?
I didn't celebrate that night. I had a big party that following weekend. So had the whole city come out. I had a party at my grandma's house. Whole city came out. It was a graduation / draft party. And, we just turned up. Yeah, it was a good night.
KJ, I'm sure you talk to your teammates all the time and during this time. What do you guys talk about during the draft? I know what we fans talk about, but what do you guys talk about during the draft?
You know what, G? Not too much. It's like whatever they bring in. And, we don't really talk what we need, who should come in and all that stuff. It's just like, we just fans, pretty much just like everyone else. We have zero say-so in who gets picked, and we just watch.
There's got to be part of you, though, that like during the draft moment, I'm sure every year, not just now when we're asking you about it, you kind of flash back to your day and your reaction that you had to it, which wasn't completely positive, right? Because you were upset. Do you almost think that for some guys that are taken later, day 3 guys, have you ever kind of pulled one of those guys aside and been like, hey, man, use it to your advantage?
Oh, yeah, no doubt. The ultimate goal, y'all, is to make the 53-man roster. So I don't care if you're a first-round pick or undrafted guy. The way the Seahawks operate is they're going to keep the best guys. So when you come into the building, learn how to be a pro. Find a good vet to get a hold, to latch on to. Learn the ins and outs of football on and off the field, and give yourself the best chance to make the 53-man roster. That's the ultimate goal. Yes, sir.
KJ, how are your teammates doing? You talk to them? You talk to Bobby? How's everybody doing, man?
Talked to Bobby today, and he's good. We have virtual workouts coming next week, and been keeping up with current and former teammates. We got this new thing where we got a virtual date night. So we get a bunch of couples together, just get together and have date night online. So it's been pretty fun.
Oh, maybe you could. No, that's okay. Nothing. Hey, KJ. KJ, man. Hey, thank you. Really appreciate you joining us, brother.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Thank you, guys.
All right.
Thanks,
is
KJ.
KJ right now. Hey, just remember, make sure you submit your questions. We have Q&A being ran by Jim Mueller and Jackie Montgomery. They're going to be taking care of all of those questions. Submit those questions right now. YouTube, Facebook, and at Seahawks on Twitter. Make sure you do that. Coming up next, 15 NFL vet Lawyer Malloy. He joins us next.
From our family to yours, we want to encourage you to keep going. Keep protecting what's most important. Keep hopeful in the face of all this. Keep believing. Keep being strong. Keep supporting the people on the front line. Keep staying together while staying apart. Keep being fearless. And most of all, keep dreaming. American Family Insurance is mailing our personal auto insurance customers a premium relief payment to help them keep going. We'll keep being here when you need us.
Traditions are important. now more than ever. And while I considered skipping this one, Bud Light reminded me it just wouldn't be the same.
Yeah, there you go.
What's going on, 12s? And welcome back to the Seahawks Draft Party, day one, coming to you live from all around the greater Seattle area. I'm Jackie Montgomery for Seahawks.com, joined by Jen Mueller, sideline reporter for your Seahawks. And we have a couple players making an appearance, and they're answering your questions that you're submitting. We have Jordan Big Play Bads and Ray Roberts. So, guys, we have questions coming in from all those 12s out there who want to know the goods right from you. So, first up, Jen, what do you got?
Well, here's the first question. Do you think the Seahawks should look into running back options this year in the draft, given Carson's and Penny's status and their injuries from last season? Babs, I'm going to start with you on this one. What's the likelihood they take a running back?
Well, if they do, it wouldn't be early, at least in my opinion. You look at two of these young players, both Carson and Penny can present that 1-2 dynamic duo, and they have dealt with injuries. And so, with that said, I think there may be an opportunity to look at a running back position in the draft, but I don't think it'll happen until later in the round.
Ray, how about you?
I would have to agree, because if they draft any more running backs, the whole team is going to be running back and offensive linemen. So it's like you can't play a lot of games like that. But I think, this kid from Wisconsin, Jonathan Taylor, who kind of looks like he's maybe sliding out of the first round and maybe into the second round, or even the kid Akers from Florida State, they tend to be Seahawks type runners. They run hard and tough between the tackles. So I think if one of them came up like in the second day or the third round, it might be an interesting conversation just because of all the injuries. It'd be great if Carson could last a season or Penny could last the whole season. Right. 1-2 combination is really cool, but we need some availability along with all the ability that we have.
Very true. And you're only looking at 4 running backs on the roster right now, and 2 of them are coming off of injury. And you're right. So it would not surprise me if they do find somebody in Nick Ballore. And it wouldn't surprise me if they did find somebody later on just to get some of those reps, particularly into training camp, and see what they could possibly do on special teams. But what do I know, Jackie?
No, I think you guys are all right. I think you have to look at the running back position with the injuries that we've seen to Chris Carson and to Rashad Penny this last year. I mean, it was awesome, obviously, having Marshawn come back and and having Robert Turbin, but you can't have that happen late in the season again, or at least you would hope you're not put in that position again later on in the year. So, all right. So who do we got up next? We have a question from Kate O'Hare. Are we going to grab a backup QB?
Well, I'll start with that, Ray. Backup quarterback. Certainly, you have to look across the board and see if there's someone that fits the skill set of the profile of our offense. We have a movement style offense, and of course, with Russell Wilson being so elusive, it's definitely hard to replace that. So, in looking at the draft and maybe even securing a backup position may be hard. I think if in looking at a move from the roster on the backup position, it would be a veteran, someone who may have some easy familiarity with the offensive terminology and can be an immediate play should anything happen. But again, Russell he's Iron Man. So.
Well, I kind of have a long shot, and I don't know if it'll be at what point in the draft, but when I think about a backup quarterback, I'm thinking about someone like the kid they have in New Orleans. His name just went to the top of my head. That backs up Drew Brees.
Teddy Bridgewater?
Yes. So the quarterback from the University of Virginia named Bryce Perkins. The dude can do it all. He can throw the ball. He can run the ball. And he's the type of player that you can create those types of packages for. You can be like a mini Lamar Jackson if they wanted to get that creative with the quarterback position. But to me, he is probably the most underrated player in the entire draft. But he's one of those dudes that has all the athleticism that Pete Carroll thrives on. And so he's a dude that they could do some really cool stuff with as a backup quarterback and as a package dude at quarterback.
Not that you're showing any favoritism.
I got to get him out there, dude. He didn't even get invited to the combine or anything. He's one of the top quarterbacks in the country.
Let's go for one more question here. And that question is biggest offensive addition for the Seahawks so far. Ray, let's start with you.
I would have to say the collection of linemen that they signed. You know, like you said, when I did the study on them, all of them, a few of them were really high draft picks, so they're very talented dudes. Combined, they have over 200 games played and 160, I think, starts. They're all under the age of 30. And so I think from that group, the center from Pittsburgh, Finney, I think will be the biggest impact contributor, because I think he's a bigger Joey Hunt, more athletic, can hold down the middle better. But I don't know that he's as good as Britt if Britt is completely healthy. And then we don't know if Britt is going to be on the roster either. So I think you win with him either way it goes.
Babs, agree or disagree?
No, that's a good position, inside lineman at the center position. I think David Moore, too, as well, as signing him back was a huge off-season addition, too, as well. He was a young player that really stepped up in some big situations and was pretty consistent. He and Russell looked like they were developing a nice relationship in terms of trust over the time that he's been here. So I was happy to see Moore coming back.
Well, those are guys that the Seahawks have acquired that are currently on the roster. But as for the guys who might become part of this team, well, we get it back to G and to Stacy for more on draft day coverage.
Our next guest, Stacy, he needs no introduction, but we're going to give him an introduction. He is as local can get. Lincoln High School, University of Washington. He'll tell you that because he'll bark all the time. He's a 4-time Pro Bowler. He's an All-Pro Super Bowl champion and a Seahawk legend. My man, Lawyer Malloy. What's up, bro?
What's up, G? How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. I can't complain. This quarantine, how you been holding up with the quarantine, brother?
And before we get to that, I was expecting to see you in the shiny suit with the cowboy hat, man.
That's what I'm.
Yeah, why didn't you wear that today?
That's what
first day of the draft. Couldn't dress up.
No, it's an exciting times for these young men. You know, the first step of their journey. You know, a shot to get into the NFL and really change the course of their families' lives. You know, by going out there doing something you love to do, playing football. The draft is just a part of it. It's not all of it, but it is a big part.
Take us back to your draft day, Lawyer. Tell us about that day, what you can remember about it.
Well, I was right around the corner at my apartment with Terry Holloman. You guys know T. Holla, my daughter's godfather now, and the Sandlot Apartments. And it was me and probably 15 close relatives. And, you know, it was the first round. I thought Kansas City was talking highly to me. And I thought that, you know, if I was going to land in the first round, it was going to be late in the first round. I think they had like the 29th pick to Kansas City. And, you know, you're seeing everybody walk up there. I think it was Eddie George, you know, Keyshawn Johnson, you know, just Orlando Pace, you know, all my buddies that I was All-American with were getting drafted. And I was just sitting there waiting my turn, being really anxious, nervous. And as it got to the later rounds, it was coming up to, you know, Kansas City pick and just have my fingers crossed and, you know, biting the pillow, doing all that. My wife now was, you know, she was rubbing my head, trying to keep me calm. And Kansas City did not draft me. And from there, I kind of went into, you know, my chest just sunk in. I was like, oh man, I didn't get drafted by the team I thought I was going to get drafted to. Am I going to make it into the NFL? All this doubt started sitting in or whatever. And I had to sleep on that for, you know, like 12 hours, just, you know, sleepless rest. Just, man, am I going to get my opportunity? Luckily for me, the next day came and I think I was the second pick in the second round, 36 pick. That's the reason why I wore that number. I wore number 9 in college. 3 + 6 is 9, and end up winning Super Bowl 36. So
it's pretty wild. Hey, I'm sure that you've kind of given this speech before to guys. Obviously, you're someone guys know as someone who had a very long, successful NFL career, so I know that they've already asked you. But what kind of advice do you give to rookies, either before they're drafted, right after? I mean, what do you tell those guys?
I mean, before they get drafted, before the draft, I'm just like, okay, we'll put the work in.
Yeah.
During the draft, it's like you can't worry about the work you already put in. And then after the draft, it's like go back to work. Every level you got to keep reinventing yourself, whatever. And there's plenty of good examples in NFL locker rooms to outsource. And I think you outsource until you make that starting lineup, and then you don't outsource. Because if you outsource too much once you make it, then you're out of the league and somebody has your job. So once you get there, just respect the league, respect the tradition before you, the players that came before you, and go out there and play your hardest. Give everybody a respect, and then you'll play at your best.
Law, man, talk about the atmosphere. Like, we fans, we would like to better understand the atmosphere for rookies when they first show up, and what's it like for them when they first show up to the NFL teams, or when they show up for the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, I mean, it's no matter who you were, where you got drafted, the name on your back, who was your daddy. When you go into a NFL locker room, like I said before, you're on the bottom of the totem pole and you are treated accordingly. You are the last one to get your ankles taped. I know me and Terry Glenn, we had to go. If the meeting started at 8 o'clock, we had to go be up, at 5 to go get breakfast sandwiches from McDonald's for everybody. I was in charge of the juice. He had to get the sandwiches, so it was a little cheaper on me. He made more money than me, but it's just, like I said, it's a very humbling experience. Like, all these guys are all Americans, and they're going to get drafted high, today, tomorrow. But when you go into a grown man's locker room filled with grown men, you better go out there, keep your mouth shut, fit in, and earn their respect by hard work.
Pete Carroll and John Snyder, how have they continued to be successful for drafting for the Seahawks? Yeah. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, when you look at the history of the Seahawks, I don't really think rounds matter to them. First, second round, whatever. I think they're looking for talent that they can develop. And, especially on the defensive side of the ball, you've seen over the last, a few years, starting with Earl and Cam, which I had a chance to play with. You've seen how Pete is a mastermind of developing young talent. So where people get caught up in, first round and all that, we've seen the Seahawks, trade high picks to get more picks later on in the draft, because they really feel like they have, first and foremost, the atmosphere, the competitive, winning atmosphere that's conducive to developing these young players. So I think, today won't be any different. We don't know what the Seahawks are going to do. But what I do know is that we have a hell of a coach that knows how to develop young players and get them ready to go compete.
Hunter Bryant, Savon Ahmed, Huskies. What's your take on those guys and the other Huskies having an opportunity? Jacob Eason having an opportunity to get drafted tonight.
I'm excited for all the young guys involved in this process, but I'm biased towards my Dogs. This year didn't go as planned, but we have a tremendous amount of talent. What they're doing on Montlake is developing young men on and off the field. But when you look around NFL rosters, we have a lot of guys that are being developed the right way to go into, like I said, into locker rooms. They know how to work hard, grind, and a lot of these guys are cracking these starting lineups. And I think that this class this year that's going to get drafted today, tomorrow, and go into free agent, I think they have a chance to keep that ball rolling. Man, we have a lot of athletes that are getting tutored the right way on Montlake and NFL ready.
I'm going to steer away from the draft for just a minute. Obviously, unprecedented times that we're all in. I think the message that we've had from most of the people we've had on today is mostly one of positivity, like trying to have fun, keep positive, even though all of this is difficult right now. What's something you've learned either about yourself, your family, life? I don't know. What's something you've taken from all of this right now?
I mean, this is an unthinkable time, not for, we always talk about United States. This is a world pandemic. Like this is, I think, I'm a believer in God. I'm a Christian. And I think it was just a call to reset. Everybody just slow down. We're here, we're renting this space on earth. And, we've been beating it up. And one thing for me personally, I'm always on the go, doing things and all that. It's forced me to see what's right in front of me. And that's a beautiful wife that, has raised 4 beautiful women. And, the girls are all athletic. I see them fight. I see them love. And that's what it's all about. I think this time it sucks for everybody, but really, really, I think it's a time to count your blessings.
Well, it looks like you've been counting the weights and counting the workouts because, man, you still look like you can play.
I could play.
Yeah.
I could probably hold the ball on the kickoff for the kicker. Okay. If they're going to give me another check, I will do that gladly. Other than that, I don't want to get hit or do
long snapper.
I don't even want to do long snapping. No, they get hit.
Flinching. Just whoa. Sorry.
Hey,
no,
man.
Lawyer Malloy, thank you so much for joining us, man. Appreciate you, your family. Stay safe and healthy, man.
All right, go Hawks.
Yes, sir. Hey, we really appreciate all of you guys for joining us as COVID-19 continues to impact our communities and the world. A key component of this year's NFL draft will be a special draft-a-thon, rallying all of our partners, players, fans, and teams for a 3-day virtual fundraiser. All donations will go directly towards organization addressing COVID-19 relief efforts. John Schneider, Pete Carroll have joined the other GMs and head coaches around the league to make a personal $8,000 donation. Locally, your donations will directly benefit United Way of King County, Salvation Army, Food Lifeline, and Sound Generations Meals on Wheels. If you're able, no donation is too small. Every dollar counts. Donate today at NFL.com relief or text draft to 21000. Round 1 of the NFL draft is coming your way next. Turn on ABC, ESPN, or NFL Network for all the coverage. We'll be back with you tomorrow right here, starting at 3.
We've actually learned a lot from the process now that we're going to carry forward into the future. I think our scouts have done a fabulous job working the Zoom and Skype and Teams and everything. And
we've had tons of drafts over our lifetime that will never be remembered like this one will be.